Greetings and welcome, everyone. I'm so glad you are with us tonight, wherever you are, if it's day or night. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm so excited with this conversation that I'm going to be having tonight with my dear brother, Edwin Asan. He is from Trinidad, the island in the Caribbean. I'm also in an island in the Caribbean in the Dominican Republic, next to Haiti, and we are so excited to be able to bring this conversation live to everyone. And we're going to be discussing my books. Um, so he's going to be asking questions and we're going to be talking about it. My experience in the way of the Inca is one of the book, my transcendental trail, and El Callo or the Callo. Um, so we're going to ask Brother Eddie to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about himself. And then at the end, we're going to have questions and answers from the audience. And before that, we're going to have an announcement. So we're going to have the announcement, and then we're going to have the questions and answers from you. You can ask either me or you can ask Brother Eddie any questions that you think you want to ask us. So welcome, Brother Eddie. Just tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Maali. It's such an honor for you to even be calling me a dear brother. You're such a special person that I've come to know, uh, especially in the cause that we are both engaged in, the awakening, and we have had so many wonderful interactions. So it's really an honor to be called your brother and to be called a dear brother on
Yes.
top of that. But even before that, I like to look at things in context. And the context is this. We just had a hurricane that affected Haiti and the Dominican Republic. And I want to find out how are things going there now? How are we responding? How is the recovery in the Dominican Republic right now?
Well, it in the area where I am, I'm not close to the coast, so I'm more inland, but near the coast, that's where most of the flooding happened and most of the winds. We even got winds here. Um,
Okay.
the electricity and the power, everything, was going on and off. So those were basically were some of the things that went on around here.
Okay.
So in the other parts of the island, yes, and even near here, we had some flooding as well. But
Okay.
here, where I am, we didn't have that big of a flooding. So
Okay.
that's good in a way, yes. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, yes. Who am I? I'm still trying to answer that question myself. Who am I? Or should I put it, who I am? Um, I am Edwin Hassan, Brother Eddie. Uh, I'm a farmer. Right now, I'm speaking from my farmhouse. I have a farmhouse here in Trinidad. So my wife and I, the family, we have a vegetable farm where we grow pak choy and lettuce and chives and what have you. The thing about it is that that was not my original plan following my retirement from the corporate world in 2019. As a matter of fact, in 2019, I had high hopes of being an executive coach uh, and doing some presentation regarding leadership. in order to influence a different ethos of business leadership. But it so happened, following my retirement, during my work period, I was always engaged in youth development. And one of my youth development interests led me to doing some work with some youths in a government institution here in Trinidad, where I was part of an intergenerational group. Just bear with me a bit. Older guys from industry who have retired or about to retire, interacting with youths on a particular institution. And we sought to help them in making them benefit from being within the institution that was very cash-strapped at the time. So what we did is that we worked with them to develop hydroponic farms that they built themselves in coordination with certain institutions here in Trinidad and businesses. But the model was so successful that we thought that we should expand it beyond the government institution, and this is how it ended up being on my family property, where we thought that we would have created a space for youths to come in, learn all of the issues associated with hydroponic farming, learn how to build hydroponic farms so that they become empowered. But things happen in such a manner that I ended up holding the business, my wife and I, and then COVID came, and I just ended up on the farm working and doing everything on the farm. But I think everything was so divinely guided in the sense that while being isolated on the farm, I started digging deeper and deeper into an area that has now consumed myself and has now joined me with my dear sister Maali, the cause of upliftment of our people, the African cause. So currently I'm very much invested in being that influencing factor as well, among others, in partnership, in coordination, in joint effort with our dear sister Maali and others from the African Sovereign People Alliance group, ASIPA. And so I just returned just last week from Nigeria, where we had a two-week visit to Calabar City in Nigeria in the state of Cross River. And that would have been my third visit to the African continent, the first two being exactly what I spoke about, focusing on youth development, youth leadership development. And that passion for youth leadership development, as I said, started before I retired, but it expanded beyond Trinidad. And there is a deep desire really to influence the quality of leadership among our people, and especially among the youths, because they are the leaders of the future. Even now, they are the leaders. So in a nutshell, Brother Eddie is married, he has 5 children, he's a farmer, but with a very deep passion for being part of the movement to influence the awakening of our people so that we know who we are, and we operate from our authentic, sovereign, divine, original sense of being. And I know I said a mouthful there, but in a nutshell, that kind of describes where I am and who I am at this point in time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, in a nutshell, like you said. And it's funny because kind of like the same thing happened to me when I just want to share this. I wanted to retire early, and so I prepared everything because I was looking into working or doing some kind of project with some friends of mine, and it didn't happen. So everything, I was ready and going, and it didn't happen. And so I asked myself, okay, so what now? you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, but then, everything just um, gave a huge turn. And so I realized that this was the path that that I had to take, which is helping in our community, educating our community, especially the Spanish speaking community, because I realized that um, there's none of the information that we share in the channel is out there in Spanish. You have a lot of videos in YouTube and a lot of books, and they're all either in English or French, but there's hardly any information in Spanish. So realizing that need, then I said, you know what? I'm just gonna create the YouTube channel and begin to bring out information. And it has taken so many turns, and it has expanded into other projects. And so I'm really happy about everything that's happening. And the main purpose is to be able to help our people, educate our people, and when I mean our people, are melanin dominant people, because everything else and every other community, they're taking care of themselves. And I see that in amongst our community, there's a lack of unity, a lack of knowledge of who we were, and everything that was taken away from us. And so you know trying to unite us in the diaspora and in the continent is mainly our main focus. And so both you and I have had some in-depth conversation, and I said, oh my goodness, I asked Ben, what do you think? Should we, have a conversation? And thank you so much for accepting having this conversation here with me. And so let's just go ahead and continue with, the books. And I wanted to ask you, how did you become interested in the books? I didn't even know that you were reading them until you call me and I say, well, can we talk about some of the, it's like, okay.
Certainly. I think during the course of our interaction, quite early, you did speak about being an author and having some books. And I searched and found the books. And it's quite interesting. Very, very interesting. I think in reading the book, there are qualities of you, Sister Maali, that continue to echo in every page, of course, because you wrote it. You wrote it. And but it's not just what is written as much as recognizing this passion that you have for this self-discovery, and not just discovery for its own sake, but that passion to share what you have discovered on that journey. And that really is something that I admire. And as you continue to, as we continue to interact with each other, and as I continue to see you interact with others, I continue to see how that passion expresses itself to the point where I recall Sister Maali saying she's prepared to die for a particular cause. And that tells me about the extent to which you are convicted with the things that you have discovered, the extent to which you are convicted to share and enlighten others at all costs in terms of the awakening, the upliftment, and the like. I mean, I'm speaking a lot, but I think when I look at, there's a part of your book at the beginning. Let me, because I have it in front of me, and there's a quotation that you have in at the beginning of the book, and I'll read it. It says, when a seeker emerges in a family, it is because he or she incarnates the entire clan's desire to come out of the repetitions and the known and evolve. That captures Sister Maali. It captures a spirit, captures a passion, it captures a focus, the direction. You know, it's amazing. You were able to spell out in just that particular sentence who you are, the person I've come to know. The entire clan desire to come out. So you have come into this experience, this incarnation, in order to influence the clan's upliftment and evolution into something better. And this is what I see, this is what I experience when I interact with you. So it's always that influence of your passion that inspires me.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know, that quote, it's like, oh my goodness, this sums it up in me so much. And I added that last word, evolve.
Oh,
Because
okay.
yes, and that's why I wrote in parentheses last added. I added the word evolve because within my journey, I realized that this is what it's about.
Okay.
Evolving, in other words, you know, becoming
Right.
what we are supposed to become or who we are supposed to become. And that in itself, that quote in itself made me realize the responsibility that I have
Mm-hmm.
for my ancestors, for my family, for my children or my offsprings. Um, and as I look around that environment of family, it's like, wow, I'm the only one that's really doing this. And you know, just assume the responsibility. And it's been an amazing journey because of that, because I understood that it went beyond me. It was something bigger than what I first thought it was. So I was really grateful for that quote and for finding that quote.
Wow.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I know, Sister Maali, you know, words get lost often in interpretation and meanings, but what's the right word? But the resonance of the word. You see, in what you wrote there, you linked your being now with both past and future.
Mm-hmm.
And that word can't describe that connection. but that the passion that you carry has connected you with a commitment that involves your ancestors as well as future generations. The passion that you carry has connected you to them. And although that sentence seems so simple, the resonance, the echo of that, if we can understand the far-reaching implications of that quotation, I tend to get lost, so just put me back because because this is what you said, because she incarnates the entire clan's desire to come out of the repetitions and the known and evolve. Now those words are so deep.
Mm-hmm.
And often we live our lives in the present and caught up in the mire of the present without appreciating our role, our links, our responsibilities to liberate not just ourselves now, but the effects of our ancestral experiences for the future as well. And that, when we embrace that, it is like knowing that we are more than just who we appear to be in the present. We are connected to something deeper. And that draws me back now to a question I asked you, and I don't think I ever got an answer from you. At the opening of your book, there is a diagram with a big spiral and then a heart shape with two smaller spirals. And I was intrigued by that. Very much intrigued by it. And I recall asking, but I'm not certain that I got a clear answer. What does that mean for you?
Let me go back a little bit so that you can understand the magic that occurred during that journey of mine during that time. I asked a friend to, she's an artist, so I asked her to draw the covers for the books.
Mm-hmm.
How I just asked her to write to do one, because I was gonna do one book, just one book. And it just dawned on me when she sent me, she says, I did extra ones so that you can pick whichever one you want. Now, let me tell you, I had a really, really difficult time writing. Like I mentioned that experience in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was asked to write the book. That's why I wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
I really didn't wanted to write the book. So but I did write the book. And when I was only thinking about one book, and when she sent me the paintings that she did, it just right there and then it said, I realized, oh my goodness, I have to break the book into series. It was so displayed right there and then. Because if you see I'm gonna get to that picture. If you see this one, so this is the first one. My experience in the way of the Inca. So if you look at the painting, you have the spiral here too.
Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
And so if you count the women here, there are 7 women. In other words, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I was just in awe because she, without me even saying anything about the book, I just asked her if she could do the artwork for the book. When I saw that without me speaking anything to her about the book or what I was writing, she just surprised me, because I said, my goodness, she read my mind. Literally. I mean, she really did. And these are, to me, were the 7 levels or the 7 chakras that we call them, the 7 chakras. So it was like, all the levels that I knew, understood, and went through. And so when I saw the spiral, it was like, oh, wow. And she did it so on point. Because the spiral really, and she has it there, like the women going up in a spiral and then me coming up, right there on the mountains. If we can only understand the experience that the mountains gifted me. I mean, words cannot, if later on in the other series, when I write about it, just know that those words are short to the experiences that I had up there in the Andes. And then her to bring up both the sun and the moon, grabbing, putting them there. I mean, it was just amazing. And then the little hat, she didn't know about the vision that I had with me on the mountain and a white hat on my head. She didn't know. And when I saw that, like, oh no, this is, if I say it, well, people are not gonna believe it, probably. But that's how much connection. It was like she connected with me, and the experiences, it was, to me, it was magical. And so here you see also the spiral. You see? And so the spiral in the Quechua, in the Q'eros codes, let me see what it's the Kausai Pacha. It's the 7th code. So she did 7 women, the 7th code, which is the spiral, and it represents space and time.
Wow.
So that code, Kausai Pacha, represents, it talks about space and time. And that's why I related, after I understood all that, I said, no, we have to use the symbol. Everything in me is our symbol. And so the symbol of Sankofa, this I got, and it's like it was sitting there waiting for me at the store. When I saw it, I said, oh my goodness, this is perfect. So that's where I got the Sankofa for the logo, this symbol, the Sankofa symbol, because it represents, going in space and time, going back to the past, being in the moment, visualizing, thinking about the future, you see, and they're all connected because the point, that starting point, we can say, is the starting point that connects everything. Space, time, thought, everything in the universe, in the cosmos. So when she shared this also with me, I just thought about my children, because really they are my offspring. You said you have 5 kids. I have 4. And this was like, it's like the coming out, springing out of me, and the heart, which is the love. It's like no love can be compared to the love of a mother towards her children. And so this symbolizes my love, eternal love, because it's infinite. It spiraled from a start, but it continues. It's infinite. It's always going to be there. My love for my children. So if you look in the center here of the heart, you have the 2 spirals, one spiraling one way and the other one spiraling the other way, which is spiraling to the right and spiraling to the left. That's the feminine and the masculine. In balance, coming out, springing out of me, again, infinitely, in gratitude and love, balancing those 2 energies. And from those 2 energies, my children sprang out. The coming together of those 2 energies. So that's why I say symbols are so descriptive of me. And they tell so many stories. I'm just giving you a few of the stories of this symbol. And if you see the little lines here that it has, it's expressing to me infinite expansion. It doesn't matter what it is or where it's going. It can go one way, it can go the other way, but they're all saying infinitely. So this is practically me with all those stories continuing indefinitely.
Oh, I'm glad I asked the question. It really piqued my interest. And Sister Maali, let me share this. Pachamama. I came across that too. Mother Earth. I came across that term in your book. Now, as you were sharing just now about the depth of a mother's love and that eternal connection of her love with the offspring, if we only could reflect on our connection to Mother Earth, and us being offspring, produced out of a relationship between two energy principles, and realize that we are covered, just as you continue to echo your eternal love and connection with your children. This is, in my humble view, how we are connected with Mother Earth. But we are lost in the noise often and distracted by the noise. But she continues to love. She continues to give. She continues to care. If we can only remember where we came from. So I'm glad that you raised Sankofa, that bird that looks back to the egg or the seed. You know, there's a quotation from scripture that talks about, I long to keep you under my wings as a mother hen looks after her chicken. And it is that love that really enfolds us. That has produced us and continues to cover us, that we have often forgotten to look back and to know we are cared for. So, I mean, I'm so glad that you shared on that spiral, because, I mean, I look at it and appreciate that we are part of this time-space creation experience that has a beginning from a heart that cares and has never left us.
And you know, when you mentioned Pachamama, if we could only recognize that disconnect from Mother Earth disconnects us from everything. It really does. And one of the things that it allowed me to understand is that when I was looking everywhere trying to find me, and it was always within me. And the funny thing is that my physical body was standing on that connection that would eventually allow me to connect with everything else. It never dawned on me that me looking up and looking up and looking up, when all of the time I should have been looking down. Because when I looked down and began to establish that connection with Pachamama, I mean, it just completely flipped me. And what I didn't get while I was looking up, I got from looking down. There was one time during the pilgrimage when we're used to bowing down and putting our forehead on the ground in gratitude and salutation to Mother Earth. That to me became so important that, I mean, I could have been doing it some other way before, but when I recognized that connection and I was then doing it with that full intention, understanding what the earth is, what Pachamama is, and what she is to me and my connection, that it came a time or a point in that journey that I bow and I put my forehead on the ground, and I could hear and I could feel the waves, the resonance coming up in a spiral-like sound from the earth to me through my forehead. Sorry about that. So I don't know if Brother Hassan left. So something happened here. I guess he got disconnected.
Continue the show.
Okay, so well, I since we're talking about the journey, should we go ahead and ask? Sophie has a question, or leave it for the end? Ben.
You can exit now. Let me put it up.
I can go ahead and say something now, and then when Brother Hassan comes in, maybe, later on he can also ask. So the question is, what advice can you give someone who is starting in a similar journey? Oh my goodness. Okay, I think he's coming back. Okay, I was going to answer one question, but I'm going to leave it there so we can continue. So what I was saying, I don't know if you heard me till the end, Brother Eddie. Okay, so what I shared was an experience that I had as I was bowing down on the ground to salute and give my thanks to Mother Earth or Pachamama, during the one time during the pilgrimage, just like a spiral, the vibration came from inside the earth and into my forehead and into my body.
Wow.
It was like the earth was beating, the heartbeat. It was the heartbeat of Mother Earth. Like she was telling me, I'm alive. Yes, I am alive. Listen to my heartbeat. So what other connection or proof of connection than that, aside from all the rest of the experiences that I had previous to that experience? So that experience is coming in the next book. So, you know, that's one thing that keeps us separate from nature, from Mother Nature, if we also want to call it that. Yes, you can look up everything you want. Yes, I'm not saying I love looking at the stars. I love looking at the sun. I recognize them. They're also connected to me, and I am also connected to them. But that doesn't mean that I'm only going to be looking up. I also have to be looking down. And looking, what does she have? What offspring? Also, am I the only one? No, look at the trees, look at the grass, look at the insects, I mean, my goodness. And we are all connected. And sometimes we just look at or recognize or realize or think that we are the only ones. And no, it's not only us. I don't know, but I'm listening to I'm listening. Can you hear that sound?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, I was getting a call. Was there an
Oh,
interruption?
you too. Okay.
Okay. You know, Sister Maali, during some of our conversation, you mentioned a particular author, Rumi. You pointed me to certain of his work, and as you were speaking there, I recall a particular poem from Rumi, and it's called "The Truth Within Us." The truth within us, and let me call it up. And he talked about an eternal orchard which abides unwithered within.
Mm-hmm.
And it is that when I heard you speak about not just looking up, I would say not just looking out, but also looking within.
Mm-hmm.
There to me lies the real connection. Yes, it's also around us, but what we see around us is a manifestation of our connection with something within. And it goes back to that spiral that you talk about. Because that spiral of that time-space experience had a beginning.
Mm-hmm. That
A
point.
beginning, that point. that beginning where two energies came into union
Mm-hmm.
and produced an experience that we call time and space experience. And that connection has never been lost.
Mm-hmm.
We often get caught up in the time space experience that appear to make us separated from that beginning. But that's where everything started, and that's where everything about us coded, captured to unfold in our time-space experience. But we get lost in the separation. See, we get lost in the time-space. We get lost in the noise and the confusion, and we forget Panchamama.
Mm-hmm.
And the connection. And I'm using Pachamama as one aspect of our identity. And I'm really careful here. Because she does, as you said, symbolize love and connection. And then there's identity, sovereign identity. Combined with that love, produce what we have now in our experience. And this is why the importance of looking within. So that we would know that, as you said, that beginning. Sankofa, we have lost as a people, as individuals, we have lost that value. We have lost that capacity to value looking within because of all the noise that we hear around us that are so distracting. They pull us away from a deep experience of knowing who we are. And if it's one thing, Sister Maali, that continues to echo in my interaction with you, is that word you always, that phrase you always say, know thyself. Know thyself. Know thyself. And it really starts from that inner journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this book here, it walks us through your inner journey of discovery. But that's, there are so many notes that I made out of your book while reading it. I should probably look at some of those notes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So many notes I made
And to
out.
piggyback on what you just said about to know thyself, the fifth code is Yachai. So Yachai means to know in Q'ero. And when I connected the two, know thyself, and then to know how important it is for that community to know. First, to know themselves. That's what they say. First, we must know ourselves. So you see, it's like the same story repeats itself with different cultures, but it's the
Exactly.
same. It's the same. Our ancestors said it. Know thyself, like you just said. And Yachai, tells us in that code, the fifth code, to know. And to know what first? Me. Because without me, how can there be anything else? And me, I am the one that is supposed to connect. They're there. Everything is there. But until I don't make that connection to everything else, it's not going to happen. And it begins with that knowing me, knowing myself. And that journey, in this one, the first leg, my transcendental trail, in this book, this is number one, series number one. But this is the really my journey before all this happened. What was my journey before all this happened? Yes, I went in years into that journey. And if you see here, when she drew this, I said, oh no, that it's like I have to use all these pictures that she sent me, because this symbolized so clearly that previous journey that I had, because that's when I faced all my dragons. This is a dragon. You see, all my dragons. And where are they? They're deep inside of me. I'm like the mountain. So deep inside the mountain were all my dragons that I had to face. And until I didn't face all my dragons, I couldn't complete my journey per se, that journey with dragons. I couldn't be crowned from my dragons. And yes, even the different colors mean the difference. Dragons I had to face. When I say dragons, are all the negative, everything that's in me, within me. But I have to face them. I learned that I have to face them. I can't run away from them. You see, people run away. Oh no, I don't want to see that. No. I don't want to say that I did this and this was bad or negative or whatever. Doesn't matter. Especially, you know what? The fears. The fears. Those are the worst enemy. And like I say here, I had to put on my armor and go out there in the battlefield and face my fears. All of them. All of them. And in this book, I also have a quote. And I just love James Baldwin. I love him. Oh my goodness. He was such an inspiration to me as well during my journey. And he said this: a journey is called that because you cannot know what you will discover on the journey. What you will do, what you find, or what you find will do with you. And I said, oh my goodness, he was on the same journey. Because that's what a journey really is. You go on a journey, but you don't know where you're going. You just know that you are going. You don't know what you're going to find. And what that is going to do to you. Or what you will do with what you find. Because it is so true. And so I figured that I added that quote as well because it resonated with my journey, that I wanted to share that as well. And
I seem to have. Are you hearing me at all?
Yes, I can hear you.
No, I can't hear. I got a call as you were speaking, and I tried to interrupt the call, and it seemed like I interrupted a lot of different things. So I am not hearing you. I'm seeing, and I'm not even sure that I am on the system. Let me see.
Well, I know that I can hear you. It says audio, so probably there's a camera that you have to hit the camera as well. But nevertheless, I will continue with the poet that you mentioned, Rumi, and I also, you learn from it because I quoted some of my favorite poems from Rumi. So so yes, he was also an inspiration. And when I first heard Rumi, I probably heard him or heard some of his quotes before, but I could not relate him until I heard those poems. And what attracted me to the poems as I was listening to them was the fact that I was trying to describe or put into words experiences that I was going through within me. These were personal experiences that I was having inside of me, in my mind, in my heart, with my emotions, but I could not explain or put into words. And so when I heard him and I heard those poems, it was like, oh my goodness, he's putting into words exactly what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing, that I wasn't able to put into words myself. So that's how I related or came really to know Rumi at that time during my journey. So I don't know if he's Brother Eddie, can you hear me? I think he's coming. Yeah. Okay. I guess we have to wait a bit. I'm just going to share let me share this poem that I have here that I quoted from him, which made such a big impact in me because I kept saying and understanding, and when I share that with somebody else, I said, it's like I died. It's like, things in me died. And I understand that they have to die. So the person didn't understand me. So I couldn't continue talking because right off the bat, the person was not understanding me. So I said, okay, I won't speak of those things because they're not understanding me. And so when I heard Rumi saying this, what I was trying to express, that I didn't do a good job at it, it was like, oh my goodness, there it is. He is saying it. And this is what he said in his poem. He said, die, 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 die in this love. If you die in this love, your soul will be renewed. Die, die. Don't fear the death of that which is known. If you die to the temporal, you will become timeless. Die, die. Cut off those chains that hold you prisoners. That fear to the world of attachment. Cut them off, and even die to them. So die, die, die to the deathless. And you will be eternal. Die, die, and come out of this cloud. When you leave the cloud, you will be the effulgent moon. Die, die, die to the dim and the noise of the mundane concern. You see how all this is coming together with what we were just talking? In the silence of love, you will find the spark of life. So it's like you go on this journey and you're living all these experiences, and then you hear someone put it up and package it so nicely and so clearly. I didn't need anything else. I understood perfectly what he meant by that. And so that battle, yes, that fear, we have to battle. We have to face it. So yes. Thank you so much for bringing up Rumi.
Sister Maali, you shared that poem early in our conversation, our interaction. And, it really touched a deep place. That word fear that you mentioned, that fear of dying so that we could live. I think it's, as you quite rightly said, because of the attachment that we have been conditioned to hold on to. The attachments that we hear are so important to give us identity. The things of life that we see around us that are promoted as something to go after with all that we are. And we continue to press on to hold on to these things. The fear of letting go would mean that we have lost our identity with what we think we are because of those things. And that idea of Pachamama and our connection, this is our source, this is our original source of being, in connection with an eternal mother that loves. That, just as you express as a mother, that will not disconnect from her children. And I'm saying we are product of two male and female energies that will not disconnect from the relationship with the children that came out from that relationship. If we know that we are part of that, and that the experiences that we go through will only lead us more and more into that reality, so that it strips us, as you say, of all of the things that we felt were important. And as those things become more stripped away, you have at the front cover of your first book an image of you being one with the mountain. And I think you shared that with me once, about being one with the mountain and with nature. That is the connection of wholeness. That is the connection of wholeness, of oneness, of true identity in terms of who we are, who we truly are. When we stand in that place of wholeness, then the interconnection becomes more real. That we are connected with so many other aspects of creation and with each other. That the idea of being alone and fearful disappears. Even as we face those challenges that strip us of those identity, we know that there is a deeper connection. So we let go and we experience that deeper connection of oneness and wholeness. And one of the things that I saw in your journey is the stripping away to realize a deeper connection. So the journey is a journey of different levels of experience of our oneness with our authentic being. And this is what Rumi to me is echoing. To die, to realize that that wholeness that can only come through dying to our attachments. Dying to our attachments. Dying to those ideas. And indeed our people, Sister Maali, as we continue, as you and I, we continue to serve in this particular calling of the awakening of our people, we see this false identity that have been adopted that continue to distract. I know that we are talking about your book, but I can't separate your book from the calling.
Everything is connected. It's everything is connected.
And it is when we go on that individual journey, we realize the falseness, the false identity that have been given to us, that we continue to run after, forgetting our connection with what is real and what is true and what is authentic. And that robs us out of that unity experience. You talk about the lack of unity. And it is because we continue to run after false identities. We are not understanding. And this is where Ubuntu comes in. Return of Ubuntu. Ubuntu El Retorno. I am because you are because I am. That talks about a deeper connection that can only be experienced when we strip ourselves of the false identity, the false values that continue to echo every single time we turn on our televisions and our radios and all of these advertisements and all of these news and what have you, that keep focusing on the outer noise that drowns out that still small voice that is calling us to who we truly are. So, I mean, I do appreciate, and I know that your book has gone into different levels of consciousness, and I wrote so many different notes in the book, but I'm trying to get it up, and every time I try, it seems like I'm losing connection somehow. But let me try again.
I just want to jump into what we're talking about space, time, and the detachment and all that. One of the things when I experience that timeless space, that's why I don't wear any watch or keep track of time, because I understood and learned that the only time really is the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
And within that spiral, we understand that there is a past, a moment, the present, which is the moment, and the future. So when you experience the timeless in that spiral, that's when you know and understand that the only thing that really is the moment. Because the future, it's not there yet. Tomorrow is not here yet. Therefore, is non-existent. The past, it's already past. It's gone. It's non-existing in the present moment. And so what keeps us attached without living in the present moment, it's the future and the past. And so that attachment to the past and to the future doesn't allow us to fully live in the present moment.
Mm-hmm.
And when I experience that, I try as much as possible to remain in the moment. Life is so complete when you are in the moment. Here we are right now. I'm not thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not thinking about what happened an hour ago. This is what I'm thinking. This is what I'm doing right now. So one of the things that we have to detach from is the future and the past. In other words, stop worrying. Yes, you can think, okay, this is what I want to do, but don't waste your time or spend more time thinking about the future than the moment. Don't spend more about the thinking about the past than the moment, the present moment. And it takes practice. All this takes practice. And that's one of the things that I also learned with the Q'eros in my journey with the Incas.
Mm-hmm.
Was practice on a daily basis. This is not something that I come and I'm going to read and I'm going to, whenever I'll do it. No, you have to implement those practices in your daily life. So if I'm talking about one of the codes, and I'm experiencing or doing something at that moment, everything must be practiced at that moment with that experience. If I hope I'm clear enough with that. And also talking about unity with the Ubuntu. The let me see, the fourth code, it's Munai. So within Munai, you have love, you have passion, you have all that passion, emotions. However, Munai tells us about unity. But what unity? My heart and my mind. The unity, they have to be unified. They have to be in unison. My heart cannot be feeling or giving me one emotion and my mind telling me something else. They both have to be unified. So when I learned that, yes, that's Ubuntu, because Ubuntu takes me to unification, to unify with everything, with you. So everything goes back to union. Ubuntu, Munai, that heart, that mind. And what does the saying say? Be of one heart and one mind. Yes.
So there is when you talk about unity and Ubuntu, there is this, and you also talk about past and future. There's this way that we become trapped in our past because of past hurts that sometimes influence us to the extent where we project into the future the possibility of future hurts based on our past experiences. And therefore, we live in preparation to prevent those things. So we don't live in the present, we live in the past, influences our hurts, and we project into the future, how can we safeguard ourselves? And the present escapes us in terms of the fullness of now. Now, one of the, and I had it open here again, the book closed off. One of the chapters in your book, let me open it up again. I'm getting a little challenge here, but the word forgiveness and Ubuntu and love is something that resonates, and I think I made a note, and let me hope I can get it back. As I open up, I have my laptop here as well, and it keeps closing. The book keeps closing, so I lose the pages. Okay. There is just bear with me 1 minute.
Just while you do that, I just want to piggyback on what you said about that. When you go to the past, you go to the past to remember. And anything that you want to change, and that's what healing is. You go to the past, you have to go to the past because you have to transform that past. You have to change it. into something better. And that's what the healing is. That's where the forgiveness comes in. If you, let's say, for example, you had an argument or, you know, whatever, you go back to that memory. And you know what? Say, I'm sorry if you have to say, I'm sorry to that memory. But, you know, implement that healing with that past. But when are you doing that? You're not doing it in the past. You're doing it in the present moment. So yes, you can go back to your past to remember and to heal, but you do it in the present. And uniting that past now with a healed past, you connect it to the moment, the present moment, and from that, something better, it's gonna come out from that negative past. And so that future is going to project that instead of a negative result in the future. So yes, we need the past. We use the past. We don't, I'm sorry, I really don't like using the word need because it tells me I'm lacking something. But yes, the past is there for us to remember, to go back and heal in the present moment so that we can build a better future from that healing that took place.
I think that diagram, as I said, that painting, that picture at the beginning of the book, it speaks to that same journey of the different identities of yourself, of the seven, that needed to be conquered. They needed to be overcome.
Yes.
Till you reach to that place of oneness. One of the things that forgiveness, and this is where again, Pachamama love is so important for us, that love. It is so important for us to be grounded in that love. Mother Earth represents that love. And we need to be grounded in the assurance that one, we have identity, but there's care and there's love. So that when we see these different versions or identities that we have adopted that would have created problems for ourselves and or for others, when we see those aspects of who we are that keeps us stuck in a particular mode of frustration of going over and over the same hurts, or finding ourselves at a place where we keep going that up and down, continual high and low frustration, and not level off into that assurance of wholeness. This is where forgiveness becomes so critical. Forgiving ourselves first, knowing that we were adopting values that did not speak to our authentic self. We were living in separation from our authentic self. We were living in separation from the awareness of that love that Pachamama represents. And we were chasing after illusions and getting lost in the separation. When we have learned to see that and face that that is not what our true identity is, but that we have an opportunity to remember, to reconnect, to reestablish. This is where forgiveness comes in. Because that oneness that you describe in that page, that front cover there, is really our wholeness experience that affects not just us, but when we live in that wholeness, there's a harmony. There's a word called synchronicity. We are able to connect meaningfully with those around us and with situations around us in a very, very deep way. That people even will remember who they are because we know who we are. Or they may see something different about the way we do things that reminds them, hey, there is a deeper experience of life that we can embrace than just continuing this spiral of separation, hurts, pain, and all that comes with it. Forgiving ourselves first, knowing that it opens us up to a deeper experience of who we are so that we can impact on others in a positive way. Now, I know that, and this was captured in, as I said, in one of your chapters. Again, I lost it. But the importance of forgiveness. I pause a bit, Sister Maali, because I lost the chapter again. And I tried to go in my phone to look for it because I might also lose connection. So sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay. If you want to bring up another topic or any other comment or share something else,
Yeah, but I'll go back to that. You see, because they may sometimes sound a bit contradictory when we talk about Sankofa. And Sankofa is really like looking back. But I like how that diagram is depicted in the bird looking back to the seed or looking back to the egg, the original. It is remembering our original authentic self. And that in itself is a journey because it is like stripping away the falsehood for us to reach to that place of authenticity. And that's where our future experiences will be projected, as you were saying earlier, from an authentic place of being. And we are challenged as a people to strip ourselves of all the falsehood so that we can stand in our authenticity and create our future from there. And this is where it's important that this is where I mean your Ubuntu El Retorno program is so important to remind us of who we are, history of our people. It is within us, but there's a healing that is needed. There's a stripping away of values of identity that don't belong to us, so that we can stand in our authentic sense of being and create from there. The influences that will shape our thoughts when we stand in our authentic self. It's different from the influences that are shaping our thoughts now as we continue to listen to what other people say about ourselves and who we are. What we create from there does not reflect our authentic self, our authentic being, our sovereign being. And this journey that you have written about, it's a journey each one of us we must go through. Know thyself. I'm glad that you mentioned certain principles or codes and practicing those codes. And this is not an intellectual journey. Far from it. It's not an intellectual journey. It is an experience in life. It is a remembering that we are more than we think we are. We have more principles, spiritual principles, and spiritual allies, and spiritual, what is the right word? There are aids that we have around us and within us that we can draw upon. And I'm glad that in your journey they codify those things so that you're able to look into them. But then as we go through life, we realize that there are ways for us to overcome certain challenges. And that if we know what those keys are, that can only be discovered as we go in that inner journey, because that's where we will find them. Sister Maali, you only came across these codes as you went onto your inner journey. And you realize that there are certain keys, codes, that are very critical for your continual experience of that wholeness. But we will miss acquiring those keys as we continue to be distracted by the noise on the outside. And as we continue to adopt values that are not our authentic self. And this to me is where the challenge is. How do we dim the noise on the outside and emphasize the importance of taking that inner journey? Because in that journey, there are keys. In one of the scriptures that I read, it talks about keys of the kingdom. Very critical code that we need to know. And even in discovering those keys, there's a process of hearing a voice, of hearing a deeper voice within, that we must know that voice, so that we will be able to discern the falsehood. We'll be able to discern those messages and values that only distract us. So that when we do know that voice and we embrace those keys, we would find that we are overcomers. And that we come into that place of wholeness. And come into that place of wholeness. I mean, I've said a lot there. But just to underscore the importance of your book as you speak about your personal journey, but that is a journey every single one of us must go through.
Yes. Thank you so much. Our time flew. I wish we would have been able to speak more, but unfortunately we have to conclude, and this must come to an end. So just thank you so much, Brother Eddie. Thank you. Maybe we can do this another time again. I'll be glad to have this conversation again. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to go ahead and make the announcement, and then we're going to go into some questions. So those that have some questions, there's already a question in the chat. So I'm going to read it so we can both, you can answer it and I can answer it, so that we can have 2 points of view. So let me go ahead and say, mention the announcement. We another project for Ubuntu El Retorno that we are working on is a conference that's coming up in February. It's Blueprint for Pigment Power. Anybody can go into our website, ubuntuelretorno.com, and you're going to find all the information about the conference. Tickets are on sale right now. And I think we have a early bird special. I'm not sure if it's finished or not, but you can go and check on the website and get your tickets. We're doing it online and we're also doing it in person. So if you are far away in another country and you won't be able to fly into Atlanta, it's going the conference is going to be in Atlanta, in Georgia, in the United States. You can also join us through the web, the internet. So go to the website and get information there, because the time is now. So across the world, melanin dominant people are waking up, questioning the systems that divide us and remembering the power that connects us. The Blueprint for Pigment Power Conference is more than an event. It's the beginning of a movement to rebuild our consciousness, our culture, and our connection. For too long, the world has underestimated what our pigment represents. Melanin is not just a color, it's a code. It carries memory, intelligence, creativity, and strength. BPP1 is where we gather to design our future, a future led by research, driven by the truth, and rooted in self-determination. From American to the Caribbean, from Africa to every corner of the diaspora, we are building a new framework for unity. We're not waiting for others to define us. We are defining ourselves through knowledge, through collaboration, through the power of our pigment. This is the time to restore what was stolen, to reclaim what was hidden, and to remember what has always been true. We are the blueprint. We are the power. And the time to act is now. So go to our website, www.ubuntuelretorno.com, and get all the information there. So now we're going to go to the questions that our audience have. You still there, Brother Edwin? He's coming. Okay. So the question is, one of the question is, what advice can you give someone who is starting in a similar journey? What advice? Oh my goodness. I think that one will be like this. We can't just give one advice. I don't know if you can, but I can't just give one advice. But if I have to give one advice, it's to have the desire to go into that journey inward, to know yourself, to see yourself, who you are. Have that desire, because that desire is what's going to continue to bring you back to that journey. Because like you heard, anything can distract you from the journey. But that desire, it's what's going to hold you to sustain you in that journey. So if you do have the desire, if you say you are starting, you have the desire. So recognize that desire, because that's what's going to keep you on in that journey. That's just one. However, if you want more, plenty of more, you can get this book, this one. And I explain all that I went on my journey. And it can help you too as well, to be able to guide you to in your journey. And once you begin that journey, everything will come. Everything that you will need will come to you. Just be patient. So I don't know if you want to also share something, Brother Eddie.
And I appreciate you sharing the very important role of desire. One of the things that I have to learn as a father, in particular as a husband, but as a father in particular, is that each one of my children must walk on their own unique journey, their path. And I'm saying that as an advice as well. We often look at others and how they walk in their journey. And there are many good things you can learn, but your journey is unique, uniquely yours, and it must be so. It must be so because there are things that are coded in each one of us that must manifest to add to the whole. And there are unique experiences that will bring out those unique codings. So that passion or that desire is needed, because there are often times you will feel alone. There are often times you would feel as though you're separated from everything else. But you must know this is part of the journey. And this is very important, because in that time of your apparent separation, you will know the voice that says, I am with you. We go back. This is where love, the love that Pachamama represents, you would know what that is. And that will be your foundation in facing other aspects of that journey, because there will be many. Sister Maali showed you 7 versions of herself that must be overcome. And I'm sure that each one was a stripping experience, stripping away. They're not easy, but they're very, very important, because at the end of it all, that experience of wholeness and oneness at deeper levels along the journey becomes our treasure, it becomes our strength, and it becomes the authentic expression of who we truly are. I don't know if that, I said a lot there, but I'm emphasizing your journey is uniquely yours. We thank God that there are persons who would have gone through the experiences and they have codified certain things that are guides. But there's a there's a particular quotation I always use. The finger that points to the moon is not the moon. All they're doing is they're pointing in a direction. You have to experience all that comes with the journey. Because you have to experience the overcoming so that that unique expression of who you will manifest will add value to everything else around.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Eddie. And I call that you can only go inward alone by yourself. I cannot go with you inside of you. Nobody can. So yes, it's a long journey and a lonely journey. So I know that, there's so much to it. That's why I said, that, my goodness, one answer, it's not enough. However, we hope that with some of the conversation that we had today, we're better off helping. Okay. Mrs. Ladio, greeting sister from your ASIPA, VP, and family. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. So we hope that with the conversation that we've had, that we were able to at least also contribute to more answers to that question. So if there's no more questions, Ben?
No more questions.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Ben?
No, this was very insightful. I know that I'm gonna ask you a lot of questions when I'm editing, but at the moment I'm just sitting here with my notepad like, wow, I need to know more.
Okay, thank you so much, Ben.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, everybody that has joined us, and thank you so much, Brother Eddie. Thank you so much, Ben. Of course, I mean, I don't know what I would do without Ben. He knows that. So thank you, everyone, and again, thank you so much, and maybe we can do this again. Let us hear from your comments, and if maybe we can bring it up again with different questions or different conversation. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, to share our information. We're trying to build a community here where we are uniting our people as far as melanin dominant people. So just share, subscribe, and don't forget to also hit that thumbs up. So good night, everyone, and until next time, thank you so much for joining us.